Hi, this is Steffi and welcome to the FinancialFox. Today I have the pleasure to welcome a really special guest, Lisa Cameron. She is an MP, member of the Parliament for the Scottish National Party since 2015. She's a chair of the UK All-Party Parliamentary Group, APPG, on crypto and digital assets. So, we cover a lot in this interview, but really we should add more and more time to go through different aspects of the work that she's doing, the amazing work that she's doing to support the UK digital assets, fintech and crypto space, because it is important to stay ahead, and especially for politicians, it is important to understand, engage with the industry and build a productive dialogue that it is all needed for this industry to move forward. So before we get into the interview, if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, click the subscribe button now and follow us on social media to stay up to date with our news and interviews. Before we get into the interview, let's take a moment to talk about our sponsor, EMG. EMG is a Web3 telecom super app that aims to be the first to revolutionize the way you interact with digital assets on your smartphone. Instead of switching between multiple apps, you just need to download one. The all-in-one EMG super app is your one-stop destination for instant messaging, video calls, e-commerce, travel, money transfer, and many other exciting features. So with EMG app, you can stay connected with your loved one, send money, pay your bills, book a taxi, shop the latest product, and even build your own digital store, all in one place. Can it be the next WeChat or Amazon? Well, watch this space. Hi Lisa, it's great to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's fantastic to be here.
Yeah, it's really an interesting time as well, because regulation is a big part of this crypto winter. And perhaps we can start with a short introduction. Probably everybody knows you, I'm sure they are, but it would be good if you can give just a short introduction of yourself and also the work that you're currently doing through different organizations.
Well, thank you so much, Tanya. Yes, I'm Dr Lisa Cameron. I'm one of the MPs from the House of Commons and from a constituency up in Scotland. So every week I travel down to the House of Commons to engage in political discourse there and policy making. And a really important role and vital role that I'm taking forward currently in the House of Commons is as chair of the All-Party Parliamentary Group for Cryptocurrency and Digital Assets. And that's been taking up, a significant amount of time in terms of the Parliament. We're educating ourselves in terms of the sector, and I just think it's really important that we look at technological advancements, the digital technology future that is beckoning for the UK and internationally, and make sure that we're up to speed. So that work is, I think, extremely important in the Parliament just now. So I'm delighted to speak with you about it today.
Okay, fantastic. So let's maybe start with what the UK is actually doing and how it's positioning within the crypto, towards crypto, let's say, because we are seeing lots of challenging in the US that has got regulation by enforcement. Then we have got the EU that is making some really good progress with MiCA. And then, we see some more exotic countries. They are taking more a proactive approach or, friendly approach, and everybody, is going to Bermuda, Bahamas, maybe there isn't, or there is, who knows, the right understanding and the right infrastructure, the right fundamentals. But, we are not here to comment on any other country. We are here to understand the approach that the UK is taking towards crypto.
Yeah, absolutely. I think from starting this work and the all-party group about 18 months ago, at that point in time, there was very little discourse about digital assets, cryptocurrency within the Parliament. In fact, there had been absolutely no debates in the House of Commons at the time. And when I became involved, my researcher had a look at engagement from constituents across the United Kingdom in terms of those that were engaged with the sector, and found that 3 million or so in terms of what was being reported, people across the UK were involved at some level with cryptocurrency, and we were saying, my goodness, the public in some sense are ahead of the Parliament in terms of what's happening. We must play catch up here, and that's, as you said, very important in terms of providing a regulatory clarity for consumers and investors, but also, as you described, in terms of the work that's being done internationally in other jurisdictions to make sure that the UK is working at pace to retain leadership in the larger sector of fintech, where we have enjoyed for many years innovation, technological advancement, investment in the UK at a high level. So it's a very important sector for the UK. So coming from this standing start almost, over the past 18 months, we've had a lot of engagement with people across all of the different parties. An all-party group is for people of different parties working together. I know that's uncommon in terms of what's reported from the Parliament, but actually a lot of that type of work does happen behind the scenes. So we've been working together to educate ourselves, bring ourselves up to speed with the sector, and then also to look at what's needed in terms of regulation. And as you say, MiCA has been really groundbreaking in terms of the work that the EU has been doing. Now, of course, that the UK has left the EU, we have to look at our own bespoke regime. And although the UK is not traditionally the first mover in sectors, it tends to see how the ground lies, in a sense, what's working, what the best practice elements are, and to try to utilise those, and then also to build upon those in terms of competitiveness and in terms of the work that would create a regime that would be suitable for the UK, where already a lot of financial investment and fintech hub development is being undertaken. So from the education piece, I think in answer to your question, what we're doing now is looking at international best practice in this year's programme, and we're helping and supporting government from that cross-party perspective in terms of putting together the regulatory recommendations. And as part of that, my own all-party parliamentary group will be producing the first inquiry report into cryptocurrency, and the UK is a cryptocurrency hub. So that will be coming out in the next month, and that will also feed into the work that's being undertaken.
Wow, that's great. And do you think the commitment on actually stay ahead of the game in crypto is pretty much a priority, also because of Brexit? You think that UK is really doesn't want to miss this, doesn't want to get you wrong, let's say?
I don't think we can afford to miss this. I think it's the more I research, the more I learn. I believe that this sector in terms of blockchain technology, metaverse, crypto assets, digital assets is here to stay, and I think it's going to have a larger footprint over time and become much more mainstream adoption. So I think we have to really look at the protection of consumers in the work that we're doing, making sure that there are guardrails in a sense, but at the same time we can also then harness the potential of the UK and the potential of the technology and advancement. And something I'm also very interested in is the jobs of the future and the inclusion aspect of the
Exactly. So before we get into the future, the next generation, I just wanted to pause and talk a little bit about the FCA, because we got lots of there's been a lot of criticism about the FCA and their role. Is actually working with the government, is doing their own things, are they educated enough? How is the government working with the FCA, and do you think there is anything maybe that is going to be done better, is in progress? We would like to kind of understand that kind of relationship, just to make sure that everybody's working in tandem, and you are not getting the support from the government, but then you go to the FCA and they want to blacklist everything that's got crypto is not going to go anywhere.
I mean, I think it's just really vital, as you say, that there's that engagement between government, the FCA, legislators, and the regulators, and the industry as well. So that has to be happening, and probably it has to be happening more so than it has been. But I do think the FCA have been picking up pace with that. My understanding from my last discussion with the FCA is that they were growing their expertise and their staffing in relation to the work that they were doing in this sector particularly, and that was going to be a priority for them. So, I mean, as has been explained, the UK is not going to be, in terms of jurisdictions, a race to the bottom, but we do want good actors to feel that they are supported and can come and set up and develop their businesses, and contribute to our economy here in the UK. So that's very important that people have that support. And companies, as you say, have criticised the FCA previously because of the length of time things have been taking, and because of the lack of engagement and feedback that many have had. So, for instance, I spoke with an organisation yesterday who said for 5 months they've not heard anything. So, those types of things, whilst we say there can't be a race to the bottom, the work of the FCA has to be very rigorous, and we want to make sure that good actors are operating here. Also has to be engagement, communication, feedback, and a continuous ongoing engagement with those organisations who want to come, to let them know whether or not that's going to be possible or whether it's not, and so that people have clarity. I think part of it has been staffing, and I think that's being addressed. The other progress that I'm aware of is that they're also, from this, hoping to have many companies who sort of overcome the first aspects of the registration, and then to provide much more engagement, bespoke support, and that's part of the programme now that the FCA is trying to roll out. So I think they are trying to address the concerns that I've certainly raised with government in the Chamber of the House of Commons, and that government are themselves, and the Minister, Andrew Griffiths, is very well aware of.
I think one point that you mentioned that is very important is about getting this dialogue with the industry, but also getting clarity from the industry. So it's not just about the government of the FCA engaging to understand and to welcome feedback, but it's also a responsibility for the industry to be active in the right way. So what we really need, how we want you to help us, rather than run away and go somewhere else that is more friendly. This is like a call action to any business in the UK to understand that the government and the FCA are here to help, but you need to proactively talk to them and, do some work too, because we are all at the very beginning of this journey. And do you see that the industry is doing that, or would you like to see more from company in the UK to engage with the government, to be open, to help you in a way?
Well, absolutely, and government's had a number of consultations now. They're currently running, as you know, the consultation on CBDC. There's a lot of work actually ongoing, and the consultations are really part of the engagement that requires to happen, so that we can have that dialogue coming both ways, in a sense, because it's no point in legislators sitting down with regulators coming up with basic guardrails and premises that just are not workable. We need to have things that are going to be bespoke, but that are also going to be practically useful for government, for industry, for consumers. It has to be that dialogue. So I think it is really important. The consultations are part of that. We've had many more in the past 12 months now than previously for such a long time. So I think we are moving at pace now. Over the next 12 months, I understand that the Minister is hoping to have the basic foundation work undertaken in terms of the regulatory structures that we hope to have in place. So I think, we are looking at a window of opportunity, and it's very important that the UK has that engagement and consultation with business, with the sector, with consumers as well. That's actually one of the reasons that we've undertaken the inquiry report for the all-party parliamentary group. We invited experts in from industry, from tax, from accountancy, from cybersecurity, from so many different aspects. Those who are engaged with NFTs, those who are engaged, with just so many different aspects, even down to something that I'm very interested in, which is education for jobs of the future, so that we can pull our knowledge and learn at speed, and we can only do that when we have that good, ongoing, continuous engagement. I feel that this is a sector of continuing professional development for me as well, because it moves so rapidly and new things happen all the time. So we're always having to catch up and to make sure that we're up to speed. But I think that's a good thing, and it shows the dynamism of the sector actually.
Yeah, that's true, because regulation has been focusing a lot on cryptocurrency, on security, on centralized exchange, because everything happened with FTX. But what about other digital assets such as NFT and the Metaverse that I know that, we had a few conversations in the past, and you always mention about Metaverse and the potential that those new technology have. What is your, how is your take on NFT and Metaverse, the potential that you see of these technologies? Quick break and back to our sponsors. The EMG SuperApp includes an NFT marketplace and a selection of e-games that helps you to earn as you play. EMG partners with Polygon, which makes the transaction super affordable, and it is powered by EMG Coin, a utility token that used to facilitate transaction within the app. Spending in the SuperApp get you rewards and access to exclusive deals. EMG is funded and supported by Melody Group, which has been providing technology services to the world's largest telecommunication company and partnering with household names for over 20 years. The group employs over 20 highly experienced software engineers, and it has millions of active users worldwide. EMG is revolutionizing the global network of communication infrastructures, and if you like to find out more, the links are in the description.
Yeah, I see that those are going to be some of the use cases that are probably going to be more mainstream in terms of the technology. And in fact, we had the Children's Parliament we had children in to speak to the all-party group for the Metaverse. I'm vice chair of that group, and it was such a pleasure to engage with the children who were speaking about Metaverse. And it was so interesting because on the day we had members of the House of Lords, members of the House of Commons, and the children from the Children's Parliament come in to discuss it. And when Roblox were presenting and some of the other presenters, they were, asking about, our understanding of the Metaverse. All the children are way ahead. They're hands up. They understand what the Metaverse is, how it's going to change their education at school, how they could perhaps be putting on headsets and looking at geography in terms of being at a volcano, or how they could be back in history and time, how they can have interactive experiences, and that this could change much of the way they live their lives. But they were just so proud of them. They were so on the ball with things. They were saying, yes, the Metaverse is so important, but we need to have security and safety in the metaverse to make sure that, you know, there's not any abuse, and that there's legislation round about it. And also, we can't spend all our time in the metaverse, because then we lose our social skills with our friends and other skills. So they had such a balanced position on it, those who presented. And I think the adults in the room from the House of Commons and the House of Lords, we learned so much from them. So it is just very much a generational thing, that it's natural to them. And this made me think, this is happening. We have to really be, working with industry to make sure that Metaverse, AI, NFTs, all of the things that are happening already, that people are engaged with, that we have that awareness in the Parliament, that we have the knowledge, and that we are able to work with industry to provide what those children asked for, actually, which was the safety and security aspect, so they can achieve the potential from the metaverse and the positives, but we can be avoiding many of the negatives.
Yeah. I think it's so important, because if that is the new generation, and you can't ignore it, the technological development. Otherwise, you're going to lose that talent that is going to go abroad, and we don't want to have that. I mean, I remember in my times, everybody was coming to the UK because you have the best opportunity. Now we don't want to have the opposite. So Lisa, tell me a bit about AI, because you just mentioned now, and AI, I mean, is now a buzzword. Everybody's talking about ChatGPT and so many functions that can now be automated. So do you think AI is really threatening some kind of jobs, or how do you see the future for the new generation, considering AI is going to be part of it? I mean, is creativity going to be more important? Because what I'm even thinking is, like, some jobs that now can be automated with AI, probably they are not, they will, something has to change. So children grow up with a different kind of skills, or they are going to maybe focus more on something else, and they can use this technology for their work. I mean, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's we're having like a digital revolution almost, in terms of jobs and the economy and people's lives, and that will not just be jobs, that will be about sports, art, culture, health as well. So a lot of things are going to change. We actually had a debate in the Parliament about 2 weeks ago now that I went along to, which was about AI and automation and jobs and potential threats to jobs. And there was a lot of discussion about the undermining of current types of jobs, which may be automated in the future. But my contribution to that debate was to say, well, yes, things will change, but what we need to do is, because we can't halt change, we can't stop. It's like industrial revolution. You couldn't stop it. You couldn't say, well, we're not having any of this development. We have to be able to adapt and to make sure that those people who are in jobs which may be automated, they're reskilled, they're able to use what we need in terms of our human brains for the other components of the job, and have more time to do those components, and that also we are on top of jobs of the future. So this is my new debate that I've asked for in the Parliament, which is about digitalisation and jobs of the future, because I think what we want, or what I want to see anyway across the UK, is no matter what background you're from, you have opportunities to learn coding, to learn and be involved in STEM and various of the different sectors that are going to be driving the technological change, so that we have confident people who are going to be that talent and innovation, and that, as you say, there's no brain drain from the UK, but people want to come because we're seen as being innovators. So I think, yes, there's concern about certain jobs which may be automated in the future, but I think change always happens, and whilst we want to protect people's livelihoods, we also have to make sure that we reskill people and also embrace that new jobs will be created, and that that's part of the life cycle and is part of technological development. It's happened over time, from the time of farming with horses and carts to, you know, industrial, and it's just, you know, it's not something I think you can entirely stem, or that you should, because otherwise other countries will move ahead and the UK could be left behind. So
Exactly.
we need to embrace change and make sure that people have opportunities within that.
Yeah, I think, the future, the talent, our children is really what we should be more concerned about rather than losing revenue or something like that.
Build revenue, actually. You know, if we were at the forefront, we could really harness revenue and new ways of working. And I think I've always thought that people across the UK have that ingenuity and you know, capability, and so I don't think we should underestimate, you know, how good this could be as well.
Okay, Lisa, thank you so much for coming on the show. Now, I have a last question. I wanted to know, when did you first get into crypto? How that happened? How did you got introduced to it?
Absolutely. Well, I had a constituent who contacted me from my own area, who had unfortunately had a negative experience. So they've been in a rug pulling scam, lost some money, quite annoyed and upset, as you can imagine, about that. Contacted me and said, can you put me in touch with the person in the Parliament who's working on this? So of course I said, I will do this. I'll put you in contact with you know, the MP who's working on it, and then we started to look for who was working on it and couldn't find an all-party group for cryptocurrency. So then I said, well, let's have a look at the research. As I told you, we found out that, you know, millions of people are engaged in the sector across the UK. So we said, this is something that we have to have. And that's where it all began. And yeah, from there, we've gone from strength to strength. We've had debates in the Parliament. I've had questions to numerous ministers in different departments, from education, science and innovation to international aid and treasury. We really have been working to make sure that the UK seizes this opportunity, because I think it is an opportunity window and we can't allow it to close. So that's how it all began.
Wow, fantastic. And, it's been a great journey, I believe, so far. And, better things are going to come as well. Lisa, thank you so much for coming on the show. And I hope to have you back soon.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.